I do, and I hope it works really nice and everybody can understand me. I'll try not to speak in anything other than English and keep it just fine.
It's fine. Just hopefully this one might be a little less
Yeah.
hands-on with the
I've put out a little flush of pictures to start off with. These are all pictures from the life of my mother, who was born Valma Margaret Wright, and she married Fred Grace, so she was Valma Margaret Grace. And this little collection of little fan of pictures was taken in 1936 when Mum, now I won't say Valma all the time. When I say Mum, that's who I'm talking about. It's hard to talk about your mother with her first name all the time. But anyway, in 1936, she went to Tasmania on a cruise with her parents. So it was a lovely last thing to have done because her father died not long after. And this picture was taken at Taronga Park because the boat stopped apparently in Sydney, and they all got out to Taronga Park and had a nice little look around. Don't know what things she saw. I never heard any stories about Taronga Park, but what I was interested in is that it's 1936, so she's only 14 in these photos, and she looks actually quite a grown-up young lady when you think about it. Love the hat. It's sort of like two sailor hats put side by side, and the collar and cuffs would be, I would suggest, had been crocheted by her mother, because Grandma used to do that sort of thing, and they would have been reusable. So when that outfit was had its day, you took the collar and the cuffs and you put them on the next garment. The other thing that is of interest is the shoes. See the shoes with the little heel? She was 14. Now, when I was 14, I got my first pair of shoes that had a little heel about that high with points on, and my parents went ballistic. So if I'd thought about it at the time, I would have said to my mother, well, have a look what you were wearing, because I think they're fairly grown-up shoes for that day. There you go, Mother.
just before you.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Go on. Ask on.
Before you moved them, I wanted to try to zoom in, but
You wanted to
it's
zoom in?
a bit late now.
Okay.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Do you want
Go
to
back. Yes.
Stop it.
Well, the important thing is we tried.
We tried. That's it. Exactly right. Okay. Now, this next picture, these ones aren't in any particular order, but this one, there. This is a picture of going left to right. My Auntie Flo, who's Mum's sister. The tall girl in the middle would be Auntie Flo's friend Mary Bath. And then the next one along is Auntie Eva, Mum's other sister, and there's Mum at the front. Now she was quite a number of years younger than her two sisters, so often there's these two sort of semi-grown ladies and Mum. I know she used to talk about, she told me a few times when she was youngish, she used to talk about her big lady sister, Auntie Flo. That would have been taken at Kira or Coolangatta. I'm not sure, it isn't mentioned. Oh, okay. Just having a technical adjustment here. Happy?
Not really.
Oh, that's better.
Okay.
I like the way they're just tucking their dresses up so they don't get too wet out in the ocean, out near the ocean. Another beachside picture, this time we're in our swimmers, believe it or not. Left to right's Auntie Eva, Mum, the little one in the middle, and Auntie Flo. Don't you just love the beach attire? Probably all knitted, really. There was no such thing as beach fabrics. So, and Mum's wearing a little hat, but the two bigger sisters are not. Again, this would be at Coolangatta, and there's no date on the back of that one. But looking at at Mum, she's probably 3 or 4, so we're talking about 1926, 27. Now, here's a group shot. I don't know what the occasion...
To the right, just a bit.
That way?
No, away from you. Away, 2 more centimetres.
That better?
Up 2 more centimetres. Perfect.
I'm glad I'm perfect. Right. A family event, I don't know what it might have been, but going left to right, this is Mum's family, yeah, if you like. There's Auntie Eva first, their father Matthew Frederick Wright, their mother Laura May Wright, then Auntie Flo on the right hand side, and sitting down the bottom looking like a little angel is my mother, with her eyes closed and her face serene. Now, whether she was like that because she'd been told to stay still and she was bored witless, I don't know. But anyway, I think it's a lovely photo. One of the nice things I'm finding, looking at all these photos, is the changing in clothing and fashions. So it's always fun to look at. And that picture would have been taken, my best guess is at Fisher Street, but that's my best guess. Now, even though she had 2 big sisters, was not exactly brought up as an only child, but for all intents and purposes was the next best thing to being an only child, and had a lot of little amusements that she did by herself. And this is Mum, and she remembers this. She had a tea party with her dollies and her teddy. And what I'm finding interesting, what's that, Mum? That's right. Okay, I can tell, I've got a spot there to look at. I can see where it is. So what I'm finding interesting looking at this photo is that actually she looks very much like me. It's the straight hair and the little hairdo, very similar. Val's tea party apparently was quite famous in the family, and it's said it was taken at 11 Broadway Street, Red Hill. Now, the family used to go camping, usually under the auspices of the Barnbaum family. So big tent went and all the things that you needed to have a lovely time, because they stayed for... It's just getting very specific here. Okay. So you can see in the foreground, there's Tilly Barnbaum, who's doing something, and I can never work out what she's doing. And there's Tilly, and then Flo, and then Val at the background. But I think they were just doing what amounts to housekeeping when you're camping. Oh, that looks good. Is that showing up better? Well, we've got the sound organised. It's just the lighting now. We need to practice. Let's see that.
Oh, there's too much to do, dear audience. Too much.
I love the fact there's washing on the line at the back. So, you know, camping has all its... You need to do what you need to do. Auntie Flo had a lovely story about camping. She'd been down at the beach camping for 4 or 5 weeks, and various members of the family would go down and stay. And anyway, when you had your cup of tea, if you had dregs in your cup, you just threw them on the ground because they were camping on sand. Anyway, when she went home and made a cup of tea, she finished her tea and threw the dregs on the kitchen floor without thinking. She thought it was funny.
That is kind of funny.
It is kind
You
of funny.
can get used to almost anything.
And that camp
Really?
was 1938. Now, do you, madam?
Very good.
Very good. Okay. Here we have a picture of Auntie Flo up the top, Auntie Eva and Mum. And I don't know who the people in the background are. There's no indication at all who they may be. Could have been people who were camping with them, or not family. I'm not sure. But again, same time, about 1938. 28, somewhere like that. again at Kira or Coolangatta.
Now that we're so zoomed in, oh no. Of course.
Okay, can I move it down?
Well, yes, you'll have to.
That,
No,
that's-
move it back up a bit. I've got a little bit of.
Okay, got it.
Okay. We can't see their feet, but that's okay.
Oh,
we'll
that's
live.
all right. Their feet are a bit in
Who's
shadows.
being cut out of the photos? Like a
Nobody's
child being forgotten about behind
no.
them. It's like,
No,
oh, I
that
just
no,
got
no, no. That's
obscured,
just some cars,
There's some random
some random
people's
cars.
children.
This was taken at Southport in 1938, and that's Uncle Abe, Auntie Flo's husband, and Mum. And they're, as I say, at Southport. So that they used to have a vehicle. Sometimes somebody else would bring a vehicle down to the camp on the Gold Coast, and they'd have outings. So obviously there was an outing had to Southport.
Those are hot rods.
I
Say what you like. Those are hot rods.
I
in
have
the
to
back.
confess,
Aren't
just
they?
excuse me
They're
while I have a close look at the cars. No, they're just old cars. That's the sort of cars that people drove in those
They're
days.
hot rods.
I'll put it over here so you can have a good look at it later.
Our high-res camera will turn up that they are, in fact.
Okay, this one all right?
Move it up 2 centimeters. Oh,
They haven't got any legs. The
Yes,
photo
I see.
finishes above their knees. 2 beach bells, my mum on the left and Auntie Flo on the right. And there's no date given on this on the back of this photo, but going by the shape of the photo, the sizing of it, and the clothing that they're wearing,
do you think they would have been daring fashionistas?
no. They were both, for sure, very modest ladies, actually. But going by the clothing and just, things, I would say that this was possibly 1960, somewhere like that.
So they're not on the bikini trend.
They never
they
got to the
are-
bikinis, no. It's not. It wasn't on the agenda, dear. Never saw Auntie Eva in swimming gear, but there you go. Somebody has to maintain a level of decorum.
Decorum.
Can we see this little collection of sweeties?
Yes, we can. And who are the
Right,
newest
you wanna know
additions
who
to the
they
Addams
are?
family?
Right, on the left-hand side is Auntie Eva with her legs crossed, sitting on the chair. Standing in the middle is Auntie Flo. I love the way they've both got little matching bows on their hair and the collars. Notice the collars. And the other little child is Siddy Grice, Jesse Gilbert's son.
This is where the goth influence comes from.
Apparently, yes. Nice
This
little
is just a
shoes.
phase, don't worry.
There's no indication of the date of this one, but I'm thinking that Flo looks probably about 8 or so it could be 1918, somewhere like that. I'll have a flick over and just have a look, but there was no indication as I recall. No. And it was done as a postcard, printed as a postcard, which means it would have been done to send to friends and relatives. And the fact that Siddy Grice got in there, I think, was just a matter of economics. You put all the kids in the one photo. So there they go. But love the clothing. I don't know what colour the little girls might have been wearing. I'd hesitate to say they were wearing black, but it could have been dark blue. It could have been dark green, but I'm thinking blue. Could even have been black. Who knows? Okay, now the last time we saw these two, they were being beach bells, and here they are being
Beach bums. No.
city
okay.
girls. It's my mother on the left and Auntie Flo on the right. And it was taken in Brisbane at 1958 or 59. I'm not sure which. I think it might have been 58, when they were both involved in CWA, and Mum went down for the CWA State Conference.
From the beach to the street.
Yes, absolutely. And it was a bit chilly. So because the annual meetings of CWA were in winter time. So there they are, all dolled up. I do actually vaguely remember that coat of Mum's, but I think that's a lovely photo. I would have no idea what their dresses may have been like underneath that, but you look at the coats, they're they're quite swish, really. Oh, the Lone Rider. Can you
Up a
see the
bit.
Lone Rider?
Up. Yes.
Got it?
Yes, now we
Okay.
can.
That's my mother on her push bike. She actually had she liked push biking. I have a few push bike stories for her. This was taken at North Eton. She'd obviously biked down to the school, which was further down the road this way, and North Eton Village was this way. And that particular bridge she's biking over, I used to bike over too. And one day I actually rode off that bridge, and that was exciting. You don't ride off bridges if you...
Is that what happened?
That's what happened to me.
Oh, makes sense.
Mum's bike story, I got two. One was when she was...
Is there water there? I'm assuming you just went splash.
Yes, it was. Yes, it wasn't nice water though. I think it was probably a little bit of stuff from the mill, so it would have been a bit stinky. But anyway, she had actually had a nasty accident off her bike once, which was not to be sneezed at, and didn't put her off though. She was very good about it. And the other, excuse me. 1941, I just managed to make out the date, which was written up there, and I couldn't make it out the other day. And the other bike, that's when we were living in Brisbane, and Shell was about, 8 or so, and we all went down to the Botanic Gardens, and we had bikes, and Mum said, she'd love to have a ride of a bike. Well, she did. She only fell off once. It was much to her embarrassment, but we enjoyed ourselves. Yeah, we're getting a little bit older now. This is a picture of Mother, and that's at Lance Street, which is the property that we lived in Brisbane at one stage. I recognise my dining room chairs and the glasses too, as in the booze glasses.
And Scrabble.
And a Scrabble board there. There's a Scrabble box. Oh yes, very good spotting there. But obviously, I don't know who may have taken that photo.
That's because, dear audience, I'm using the camera to look at these.
There's no date on that, but since we're at Lance Street, I would say
1985, 86,
somewhere like that. Yes. And I do think we've seen this photo before. When I did Auntie Flo and Auntie Eva.
Auntie Eva and Auntie Flo and nobody else.
And me mother.
No?
No? And me mother? She's come into the picture.
Yes, we have seen this photo before, but we've got to liven it up.
It lives in, a copy lives in Mum's file because that's her. That's really interesting. Okay. You see 3 people in there?
We can, but unfortunately, because we don't have 3-point lighting, the colours aren't right. But I think they're all a bit sloshed and having a great time.
This was Uncle Cecil was up there for their 50th wedding anniversary. So that's my Uncle Cecil, who's Auntie Eva's husband, and Mother and Father. And they're all looking very happy because they're having a party. And that's taken at Dalrymple Street, where Mum and Dad were living at the time.
What is in the background? What is that thing called? What do you...
Oh, it was called a room divider. That's all.
Room divider.
It was
boring name for such an interesting thing.
Yeah, it was an interesting little thing. It came with the house, actually. So anyway, it got used and moved around from time to time, depending on how they wanted to break up the living area. And the date on that is the 3rd of January 1992. So 3rd of January was Mum and Dad's wedding anniversary date. A cake to celebrate 50 years. And my sister-in-law Marcia, Jeff's wife, organised the cake for them. And Mum's church friends organised a beautiful arrangement of flowers for them. So they had quite a lot going for them for their 50th wedding anniversary. And here's just a little run of pictures that show Mum doing various things around the house. So that there she is in the garden watering, and where this is near at Dalrymple Street. I remember that dress quite well. She used to go around most afternoons and water what needed to be watered, and most especially a large pot at the bottom of the stairs, the entry, that had mint growing in it. And she kept her mint.
Did she used to chew the mint or use it
No, I
in...
used it in cooking and.
I remember like tea or something.
Yes, and she did. She used to make herbal teas, and the mint would go into those as well. And here she's again. There's no date on this, but that was. I do remember that outfit. She made that, and the chair she's sitting on is one that Dad made, I believe. He made a copy of this chair, of somebody else's chair for Grandma, for Mum's mother, and it was a lovely chair. It was really nice. I'm not quite sure where it is now. Oh, it's at Freya's. So if you want to sit on it, you have to go to Townsville. But it just these were interesting because they're showing she liked her garden.
Respective chair sitters.
Yeah, she liked her to sit. She's probably reading, I'd say. Oh yes, this here. That's the back of one of those stable table things that Dad made for her. So she could have been doing crossword puzzles or whatever, but you know that was things that she did. And another thing that she did was do her Bible studies. And there I'd say she's dressed, ready to go to church there. Again, no dates on these, but oh dear, here we are having a little adjustment again. How's it going? Hold on.
Well, you keep changing the size and orientation of the photos, so
okay.
we have only so much I can do.
Now, this one says it's in the lounge room at Dalrymple Street in 1989. So, but I don't remember that outfit she's wearing at all. And here she is again. No date on this one.
That would have, because okay.
And there's that chair again, that lovely chair. And here we go, and it's at Dalrymple Street again. So why she's just sitting there ever so quietly and somebody snuck up and take a photo. I don't know who or what, but there you go. And that's actually quite a different photo. And when I look at that, I see Marty. And you know, we're just looking at the face. Now this picture is in Mum's because it's Mum and Dad at Dad's parents' place at Ashfield in Sydney. And for the life of me, the address won't jump into my head, but it will eventually. Where Ashfield? No, it's just gone. Out a hole in my ears apparently. So, and Dad, this hasn't been dated. Dad used to take these photos. It was one of those cameras where you took the photo and it developed.
A Polaroid camera.
Yes, he loved his Polaroid camera. And here's another one from the 50th wedding anniversary. And this photo has been, it's a photo
Up a bit.
Up a bit. Dad's holding a copy of their wedding photo, and this has been plasticated in some form or other, and I don't know why or who might have taken it. But I know who's taken that. Uncle Cess has taken that because they're the clothes that they were wearing with in that picture with Uncle Cess.
That's interesting and important and fun. That they've preserved that one with that photo being held up. It's actually really cute.
Yeah. Now I have a photo of the photo. That's but I don't have the original of that. I do believe it's at Freya's. But I do have the pièce de résistance. Now, how you get to see all that, I don't know, with your faffing about. Oh, that's all. Yeah, okay. That's enough to see, as long as you can see their heads, because the dresses just go to the ground and you
The
can't see any.
facial expressions don't
Oh,
match
don't.
with their other photos.
I think.
Sorry.
Well, I think Mum was petrified. Oh, and remember we talked about the headpiece that Auntie Eva wore, and that's what Mum's wearing. That one, and I had after all these years, I finally worked that one out. It's a lovely little headdress. And who else was in her wedding party? This is Mum's cousin Sybil, whom we spoke about, and she's Horace, like Uncle Stan and Auntie Sadie's daughter, Sybil. And this is Dad's sister Yvonne, who came up from Sydney for the wedding to represent that side of the family, and she was the other bridesmaid. And there's the things that I like about this picture as much as anything else is beautiful frocks down to the ground, probably made with parachute silk because we're in the middle of the war, and parachute silk got used for a lot of things like that, because once you'd parachuted, they didn't use it again, I think. And the other thing I like is the beautiful flowers, the floral arrangements, which is just gorgeous. And you see Mum's even got a little horseshoe in her collection. And Mum was very famous for starting any stories about the question started with when, her answer always started with, well, we were married in 1942. And then the world happened after that or before that. But that was her point of reference, and that was 3rd of January 1942.
Linchpin of time.
Yes.
The fulcrum on which all other events shall turn.
Now, at the end of his life, Dad was in care, and of course the mind wasn't with them very much or all the time. And the staff had asked that Mum make a little a reminder for the staff, as much as anyone else, so they could come in and they could talk. The staff could talk with Dad about the family. So she's got a picture of Mum and Dad, and then on the other wall, or the other end of that, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's Mum and Dad down the front, and Jeffrey and Meg and Marty and Freya on there. And again, it was so that the staff could say, oh, we had a call from Marty last night. And here's her picture. You remember Marty? So they actually worked very nicely at keeping those things going for people, even though dementia had, hit the trail. So, and now half of that photo is not with us anymore. Mum and Dad, of course, aren't with us. My brother Jeff died 2 years ago, and there's just the 3 girls now. And that photo was taken at somebody's wedding. Whose wedding would that have been? Oh, I know. Adam and Sharon Grace's wedding. So that's my collection of pictures from my mother's file. And next session, I'll do artefacts. And I realised that I've actually got some artefacts pushed away in a cupboard, and I need to bring them out. They're 3-dimensional ones. It's not all just paper. So thank you very much, everybody.
For which we will need another camera setup and different lighting.
You'd think you would have got it down pat by now.
No.
No. Shella's doing a wonderful job. Thank you, dear.
Very generous. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.